Key pound.
In a world
The hell up.
where Carolina Panthers fans
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
have an insatiable thirst
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
for Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, Greg, I owe y'all $100, man.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Oh, wait, you ain't Total Recall fans? How long you been on Mars? 2 weeks. No, it's the draft. The NFL draft is right around the corner. It's just right around the corner. And guess what? The Carolina Panthers are trading back. They're trading back. They don't even want to pick at 8. Dan Morgan just said it. He's like, we want to trade back. We want to trade back. Boy, the Carolina Panthers are going to have some picks. And we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Dan Morgan's press conference. And it really feels great to have a football guy at the helm of a football team. I really feel comfortable when it comes to the Carolina Panthers under the leadership of Dan Morgan. And tonight, we're getting ready for those 2 weeks. On the C3 Panthers Podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast on the interwebs. My name's Tony Dunn. That's my wheelman, Cody Lack. Good to be with you, brother.
Tony Dunn, man, oh man, we have a huge press conference from Dan Morgan, which, I feel like Dan has typically been very tight to the vest, but he's very forthright in this most recent press conference. He says where he views Jaylen Walker, if he's the pick for the Panthers, talks about wanting to trade back, being open to do so, how much they value tight end. There's so much to talk about, but Tony Dunn, we're going to do this with the best damn Panther fans and all of YouTube. I'm going to love them as Joey the Blind Panther, C3 Doug, Panther Pickle in the building, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, John B. Jenkins, Panther Gal 73, Slideshow, Tyler Jones, Tony Dunn, and nothing but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, be a part of the C3 Legion, and welcome again. Beautiful. CK, his camera's working. So glad that you make us look bad now. You have a voice that makes a moist and a mug that is fresh as can be.
Well, I appreciate you, and I listen, we're starting to hear things ramp up a little bit. We're talking about football in a way that's actually tangible and impactful as a Panthers fan. And then the draft's over and we're back to the dog days of summer again, at least until sometime in July when we get to see a little bit more about, what we're dealing with this team and what have you, man. But I'll tell you what, July is coming around the corner incredibly fast. So we've really got to start to get to planning for what we're doing on that week. But, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty around what that looks like without knowing the exact dates. But, man, I'm just happy to be able to have a group of guys to plan something like that with you guys and all the C3 Legion.
Yeah, we're going to have we're resetting the C3 Panthers podcast at training camp this year. Been a long slog when it comes to being a Panthers fan over the last 6 years or so. But this past season and then seasons of our life have, or at least my life, have made it so I'm like, it's like we're ready for a reset. And it's going to happen at this training camp. That we're going to be back. Well, we've been here the whole time. I was going to start with this real quick before we jump into the show. Cody, at one point, first, let's just go ahead and say I hate the speculation of the draft. I love the draft itself, but this month after the underwear Olympics, all of that, I'm past it. You know that I am curmudgeoned or jaded on this, but I'm trying, I'm selling a house right now. I'm trying, moving. I'm doing all these things that this month of my life is like a capstone of, I won't say stress, but it's like hectic. You know what I'm saying? Like everything's hectic. But when I look at the internet and get ready for the podcast a little bit at the last second, you know what I'm saying? Like I should have been doing it for 3 days. I don't even feel like, is the whole world a little less, is there less interest in this right now? Is it the players, or am I just off the mark? Because where are the mock draft 27.277s and all of this? I don't feel like I have seen as much. I have not been active on X like I usually am for a while.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've been personally a little disconnected, which is understandable, but also I think it depends on where you are in your journey as a Panthers fan. Because like you said, man, it's been a slog for all of us. You know, year in and year out, there's, you know, the saying I like to say is hope springs eternal. And it does so every year around the time of the draft because, you know, you mentioned that word reset. This is the reset for the Carolina Panthers. And depending on what you feel about Bryce Young, depending on what you feel about the coaching staff on this team right now, this is a big time moving forward for the Carolina Panthers and what is something of a reset to our defense. So, no, I don't feel like you're alone in that by any stretch of the imagination. But I will say, in terms of all fairness, this is probably one of the most exciting drafts in recent history because there is so many options available to the Panthers right now. You know, we're getting ready to jump into Dan Morgan talking about, you know, some of the different options available to us, and he mentions a ton of them. He talks about trading back, talks about the roster as it is right now, the players that he values there, if they ever feel stuck at the position that they're in. The gulf between pick 8 and 57 and whether or not they want to wait that long. I have a ton of notes. It was a 20-minute press
talk about trading back. It was a 20-minute trading back.
Yeah, I have like almost 20 timestamps.
I think though, Cody and CK, it almost feels like, and again, I'm just looking at some of the national media stuff, is that I'm not just talking about the Panthers though. Like I just looked at NFL.com today and it was like I just feel like there's been less NFL news than there has been in the past. And like, whether it's like Daniel Jeremiah's draft of drafts, 20, like Bucky Brooks doing this.
All the news is, did Tyreek Hill did or did he not beat up his baby mama? You know, it's like, are the Miami Dolphins gonna trade away Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill? And by the way, shout out to the Dolphins. They extended both of those dudes. They're probably gonna trade both of them, and they gave up Robert Hunt in the process. Fucking yeah, we nailed that one, didn't we? So I don't know. I mean, you're not wrong, but also it just depends on, you know, like I said, man, how involved you've been. I know if you're online and if you're amongst Panther fans, a lot of people are very excited because, as always, Panther fans are split. There's a big contingency of the fan base that wants us to draft another weapon for Bryce Young in some shape or form. Then you have the other group of people that are like, hello, historically bad defense last year. So there's always a back and forth about it. And like I said, with all of that included, this is a very exciting draft with all that in the context.
Yes.
CK,
I agree. I think that it's, as we've said ad nauseum at this point in time, it's one of the only times we don't know what we're doing. Right. Like a lot of times
we'll be happy with anything we do. That's the thing that's awesome about it.
It's going to be, unless they were to just like all of a sudden draft Shitter Sanders, like I think everybody's going to be like, okay, this is a really good, pick, whoever we decide to take at this position. I think that there's a tremendous amount to be excited for, but I'm more excited about the fact that I feel like we can unify as a fan base for the first time in quite a while with whomever.
I really do. I think that I mean, I think there would be some maybe discord. No, that's discussion. But if we drafted a wide receiver at 8, I think that would be the thing that could spark controversy in a sense.
Yeah.
But like any other position, I think you're going to be able to just make a legitimate argument like, hey, we need everything. Let's go. Let's go. The number's 252-228-5098. Tonight's show, Panthers' 8th overall pick is a hot commodity. And the big news, Cody, is that, well, it's not even big news. It was kind of weird how NFL.com put it up, is that David Carr shoulder injury makes the Saints want to draft a quarterback, like kind of a lock or something like this. And they're at 9. And so if you want to get ahead of the Saints, the Panthers are a prime target. The Saints wanted to draft a damn quarterback anyway. But
this bumps up the urgency level of how fast they have to do so, right?
Yeah. I mean, it solidifies the speculation that the Saints need a quarterback. They are kind of, but didn't they get the Penix dude? No.
They have.
No, you're thinking of Spencer Rattler.
Rattler, that's it.
Yeah.
But that's the number, which helps us a lot. It helps the Carolina Panthers to have a division rival needing a quarterback right after us. While you could, wouldn't it be great to trade back, get a great pick, haul some picks, and F the Saints in the process, baby? Let's go.
Let's go. So listen, we'll jump into this since this was the most pressing news, but we'll talk about this first, and then we'll kind of double back across this again later in the show too. So this is from the article from Darren Gant on Panthers.com. With Friday's news that Saints quarterback Derek Carr was dealing with a shoulder injury, which could complicate his timeline for a return, the speculation about what the Saints might do with the 9th overall pick kicked into high gear. And since the Panthers are one spot ahead of them in that order, that created some natural and obvious dot connecting. Morgan said there wasn't much of an uptick in call volume yet. That won't start until next week. But he did say he'd be ready if it started ringing. I mean, listen, at number 8, if we're stuck there and we're not able to trade back, if we're not in love with the player there at number 8, and we can't trade back, then we're going to be ready for all different types of scenarios. Yeah. There are some really good players that we like. It's not just one position, but we feel like it's a good draft and there's a lot of talent. So we're going to be ready for all scenarios. He was then asked if using a word like stuck was indicative of his preference. He says, no, I was just saying if we get stuck, we're going to be ready for all different scenarios, he said, because we don't know who's going to be drafted in those top 7. So again, we're going to be ready for different scenarios. And with the talking part of the program over, he's ready to get back to work and preparing for next week. So again, he says stuck doesn't mean stuck, but kind of says that there's no preference. I believe we can all read through the bullshit, Tony, CK. This is a team, like I've been saying for months now, I love all of these players so much more in a trade back scenario. And I mean, every single one of them, even the ones that I'm a fan of and that I would hope to be a Carolina Panther, like Jaylen Walker and Tyler Warren, I would love more if we were able to draft them sometime in the mid-teens, get some more draft capital to be able to use in this year's draft. But dude, shout out to Derek Carr for robbing the Bensons blind. He essentially lied to them in some way, shape, or form that he was, not going to need a surgery, that he would be prepared to play football for this coming season, and they signed him to an extension. So that's insane to me. But boys, I don't know how about you. I don't know what you feel, but the Carolina Panthers are in a great spot to stick it to their division rival in a way that we've never really done before.
Man, the rivals. I mean, I think that that while the Falcons are still increasing, are kind of on a trajectory upward as Penix turns out, at least that last game of the season looked like he might be a guy to build around. But all in all, I think there's still a lot of question marks around most of these NFC South teams, not named Tampa, and Tampa at some point is about to falter as well. So I think it's poised for the taking at this point. We're just going to be, having to, just be smart with whatever we do in the draft and whatever free agent moves we make after the draft. I think that by the end of this, when everything's said and done, I think we're going to be pretty excited about the direction that we're headed.
It's good to be in a position where you don't have such a need at something that you have the options, and we're looking at, in some ways, we're probably looking at a Saints team where their fans looked at us over the past years of saying, gosh, they're such a terrible spot. They need a quarterback. They got to do all of this. So God bless them. God bless them. And when I say that, God, I love you. I love everybody. But we don't root for the Saints. We don't root for the Saints. And David Carr, Derek Carr, whichever one you are, I hope you buy a nice car with all that money you took from them. And I hope we get some draft picks. I thought that Dan Morgan was just saying, trade back, trade back, trade back, trade back in this press conference. It didn't even feel anything else. Cody, what's next?
Yeah. No, listen, we're going to jump straight into this pressure. I mean, this is the meat of tonight's show. And like I said, there was a lot to parse through. Like I said, I have 20 different timestamps here.
20 in a 20-minute press conference.
I've been considering that they're all about like a minute and 10-second answers.
That's the whole press conference. That's
what I'm saying, dude. So we have
go.
The boys on top of it. I'm producing this shit, dog. Let's jump into Dan Morgan talking about where he feels the strength of this draft is, and that is the defensive front seven. Hold on. StreamYard's trying to fuck up your boy. All right.
Is pretty stacked. With that said, how much do you have to weigh that, as much as you guys have invested in it and want to invest in it further, when you consider a potential trade back opportunity?
Yeah, repeat that again. So
essentially, with the strength of this class and understanding that is something that you guys have kind of, been strategic about, how much do you have to understand the strengths of this class when considering a trade back?
Yeah, I think obviously, we'll count numbers and, in terms of outside backers and interior guys, it's definitely a strong class, which we're excited about because, I think that's still an emphasis that we want to address is, just make our front seven as strong as it can be. So we'll look at all in every scenario, but yeah, we'll definitely look into that.
As far as Icky's fifth-year option.
So that's the front seven. And listen, there's no way to hide it, right? The Panthers have done a ton of work at the edge position in this draft cycle. That literally every edge in this year's draft that has, a decent amount of sacks, the Panthers bought in. And I think that this is a really good sign that we see how important the defensive front seven is going to be to the Panthers going forward, and how just like last year they rebuilt the offensive line from top to bottom. They're looking at this year as that revamp/restart to the Panthers defense. So I think they're looking at this as a potential gold mine opportunity to bring in a lot of really young, really talented defensive players.
I think what he suggested, or at least the question was trying to lead him into, and he didn't fight it, is that doesn't have to be answered at number one.
Right.
Or at number 8, like in the first, like he didn't feel like it was like, I mean, and again, you got to keep your cards close to the vest, but I don't even feel like he said anything that was even trying to disguise anything. It's like, hey, that deepness helps us with what we're trying to do.
I don't disagree. I think to me, there was a lot again. I think he was close to the vest with some of the things he was saying. But I do think that I don't know. I do get the feeling that they really do want to trade back, right? And I do think that if I had to guess, I think that if Jaylen Walker is there, I think he's our pick at 8. I really have to say that. just based on that press conference alone.
Yeah, it really does feel like he is the defensive player in the first round that fits. That's the top elite player. And then you've got people saying, oh, you can get him at 15. I've always been a proponent of this. If that's your guy at 12, that's your guy at 8. But if you can trade back and get players that add to your team, you don't fall in love too much with one player. And he talked about that in the press conference as well. Cody, what's the next spot he talked about?
So, listen, we've been talking a lot over the years about Ikem Ekwonu and what we're going to do with him. And they asked a question about his 5th-year option. We'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about him.
Keeping your options open with that heading into the draft, does that kind of complicate the way you maybe look at the offensive tackle position in this?
No, I don't think it does. I mean, we're just taking our time with that. There's no rush. We still have to, I think it's May 2nd. So we're not rushing that. We're taking our time and we'll have a plan in place.
Dan, when there are...
So what is the confidence level on Ikem Ekwonu going into this year for him? I mean, it's a big year for so many players, but I feel like I've probably been one of the more vocal critics of Ikem Ekwonu, at least when it comes to pass protection. But I think that he's been really good running the football. And then I think last year he made some strides. As of right now, are we seeing Ikem Ekwonu? Because again, man, these guys, they re-sign for the top paid contracts at their class in their position. So do we really think that Ikem Ekwonu, can get to the point where he's resetting the left tackle market like J.C. Horn did at corner?
CK, where are we at in his – what is it time to pick up his 5th-year option now?
I think we have to – I think we have to choose to do that. It's this offseason, right?
Right, because he's played 3 seasons with the Panthers now.
Right.
I believe, right? Or this will be his 3rd? Or is this his 3rd?
He was downloaded, or not downloaded.
Downloaded, that's awesome.
I'm doing so much shit. They have until May 2nd. So that means he's on year
3. Last year was year 3. This is year 4. You have to get the 5th-year option before you start year 4.
Yeah, I believe so.
Gosh, I'm split on this, CK. Is that it almost seems like picking up the 5th-year option on a player that you're hoping gets better is a good idea. In a sense, is like you get one more year. Yeah, you're going to have to pay a little bit potentially. Like he's going to command a little bit of money in that 5th year or significant, but it's not like you're not locking yourself in. I don't see the Panthers locking themselves in. And I don't know. Maybe they just let him play year 4 and then just deal with him as a free agent.
I really don't know. I mean, that's kind of what they did. Who was that we didn't pick up the 5th-year option on? Didn't we have, or maybe I'm thinking of another team.
It wouldn't have been Derek Brown.
No, it wasn't Derek Brown. Oh gosh, I don't know if maybe I'm mistaken.
Did
maybe
Brian Burns? We got the 5th-year option on Brian. And going back to Cody's question is that I don't see him as a market resetter. I see him as a player you're hoping improves to where he can be in the not the category, but somewhere in the range of what you wanted him to be. And it's not a player like J.C. Horn is an anomaly in a sense, is that with such a small sample set, he's able to, like, in a sense, convince everybody he is the dude. He's a dude, right? Like, it's just like, we got to just have him out on the field. He's only going to be better. He can be great. He's already good. Ekwonu is betting on just improvement. I don't think he commands the same gravitas of a situation. I don't know. That's a great free for all question to ask. Does the 5th year option benefit him more or the Panthers more?
Probably him. I mean, in my mind, if you're going to be paid top left tackle money, like there's a few positions, right, that are so highly coveted in the NFL. If you're a premier quarterback, that's a given. If you're a premier edge rusher, if you're a premier corner, but also that left tackle spot, man, those blind sides are, the bell of the offensive line, man. They are the premier position. That's the blind side protector. And like I said, there have been many times where I feel that my man has 2 left feet. And, maybe that's a little ironic coming from someone like myself, but dude, I feel like the guy, when it comes to some speed rushes, he just doesn't really recover well. This is why I was a proponent of Brady Christensen for such a long time. But he did play well last year. I think these next, this year and going into next year.
This year is the question just is do they do the 5th year option? Because this year you're going to learn a lot about him because he's a player and it's a very difficult position to come into the NFL and play against dog men. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason offensive linemen that are really good play until their 30s, mid-30s and stuff, because it seems it's just as mental as anything. Ekwonu was mentally broken after year 2, in a sense, is like he's not playing with confidence, Cody. He's not playing like a beast of a man and he getting bullied.
Yeah, he's like I said, I love his physical strength. And by the way, if we're really going to continue to be that dominant run-first football team, then Ikem Ekwonu fits the mold.
Yeah.
Like, he is the guy that we want on this team. I think that he's continuing to grow. I think we also have to remember that, him going to NC State, they didn't ask him to do a lot of pass protection.
No,
so there was always going to be an air of him having to grow and step into a full-time NFL left tackle.
Sure.
And he's going to have to grow into that position. And I think that he did make some strides in that last year. But like I said, he also left a lot of plays on the table. So this is a huge year for Ikem Ekwonu. And it convenes at that same time that Bryce is in that year 3, where typically you want to see your franchise quarterback really start to blossom in that year 3. Yeah. So it's not a surprise that those two are kind of on that similar trajectory of really having to have a breakout year to really show what they can be in the future for the Panthers.
Mark me down, CK, as I think Ekwonu shows out this year. I think, or it's not shows out. I don't even know. Is like, if you don't mention their name, then that's great for an offensive lineman in a game. But when I say show, I think he takes a significant step forward because I think that the mental part of the game, lack of confidence, not only needing to develop, I'm hoping and believing that the continuity that the Panthers are bringing back with the strong guards, right, a strong offensive line, the familiarity, and starting to believe in himself that he will. I think we give up sometimes too quickly on people in the NFL, right? Because it's like the fastest, it's like, look at the conversation was with Bryce, right out the gate, is that if you you got to grow into the position. I don't know if he's going to be dominant this year, CK, but I think that we could see him settling in.
I mean, that's the hope. I mean, listen, as much as an impact having a new offensive coordinator and all this stuff has on a quarterback, I feel like when you have a change in your offense, your offensive line is going to also struggle as well with understanding these new these new protections or what have you, and how the play calls. I mean, so I think that he's been given a pretty significant handicap while he's been trying to get used to the NFL as well. So I think that, yeah, you're right. I think we're going to see him take a step forward this year. And my hope is that it's a significant step forward. I'm curious to see if they find that if they have that same belief, because if they do, the reality is that if they have an honest belief in Ikem Ekwonu, there is no reason they're not going to exercise that 5th-year option. But if they don't have that belief, then I think at that point in time, the confidence of who he's going to be this year is pretty much up in the air in my mind. But I agree with Stephen Bailey. I think, why not go ahead and make the decision to extend him while he might be a little bit more, affordable. But that's also dependent upon if Ike's not willing to extend until he's got his prove it year. You know what I mean?
Do you think there's any chance that Ike doesn't? Again, he has no choice. If they do or don't pick it up, but what are the chances? Well, let me rephrase it. What are the chances that the Panthers don't pick up the option?
I think it's slim to none, personally.
Oh, you don't think they do? I'm
really not saying. I'm just not putting it out there. What are the chances that they say, "No, we need you to show something this year"? Because then it puts them on the hook that if he does ball out, you have to pay him. Whereas if you do pick it up by May the 2nd, then you're essentially giving yourself a 2-year window to take a look at Ikem. And by the way, you can still pay him even if he does ball out this year and you do pick up your option. You're still paying him. So yeah, they're probably going to do it. But I'm just saying, what are the chances that they decide to maybe press him a little bit and say, "No, man, you want to get paid? Well, do it this year. Show us why you would."
Yeah, I think that when I said slim to none, I meant slim to none that we don't. I think that there's not. I don't think they're gonna roll the dice on trying to find another left tackle. How long has it been since we had a left tackle? And he may not be lights out the guy, and we know that he's the guy, but I can tell you he's probably been one of the better ones we've had over the past 8 years.
Yeah.
Are we willing to give that up and hope that it works out in our favor? But, to Cody's point, he's exactly what you would say is the prototype for a left tackle when you're talking about a guy like Bryce Young in the backfield.
Yeah. And it fits what we want to do to be a run-first football team. And he accomplishes that goal. But, boys, so look, like I mentioned earlier, we've brought in so many edge rushers. And, Tony, if you remember last week when we talked about it, most of the guys that we brought in had numbers. Kyle Kennard, 16.5. Jordan Birch, I believe, had 11. Braden Swenson had around 10. So you're talking about guys that have a lot of production. And Dan Morgan hits on just that in this next question.
His 5th-year option, I believe the due date's May 1st.
And we'll have a plan in place.
Dan, when there are players that maybe don't have the numbers or production in college that really stand out off the page, does that turn you away at all? And how do you kind of bake that into your evaluation?
I think obviously you want the production, you want the body of work to be there. You obviously don't want to draft guys that, weren't productive in college. So I think that's kind of what you're asking, right? So yeah, we're not, obviously we want, guys with a lot of production, and, I think that usually translates to the next level.
So they want numbers, boys. They want big numbers. They want a big number situation here on the Panthers defense. And again, knowing how just in the desert we were these past few years, man, defensively, we're struggling, man. We were struggling to get after the quarterback, struggling to stop the run, struggling to stop the pass. The Panthers defense has been on the struggle bus. So what does it do for you to now see them go after these guys that are putting up numbers and production in the SEC and the Big Ten and the, all these big time college conferences? They're going after these dudes. How does that make you feel?
It feels like that's what you're supposed to do.
I know.
And I think we've caught in a cycle of the internet cycle. And obviously this podcast is part of that internet cycle of hyper analysis, where GMs or draft pickers or armchair GMs want to be the smartest dude in the room all the time. But we go back to, I think, Cody, something that you used to talk about a lot when we were talking about the combine, is that the combine was meant to verify the tape. Do you remember how it feels like just 5 years. It's probably 8 years ago now that we're talking about the tape. Look at the tape of a player, and the combine tells us if the tape, it's not like you pick a player from the combine because they have numbers, right? Is that the combine was a verification of the tape. And if it didn't match the tape, if you're like, oh, they were great and looked like they were great, but then, oh, they ran this or they did that, then you're like, wait a second. These are the most elite athletes, the 1% of 1%. And now going back to that draft where they picked all those skinny DNs with no ass, back the Brian Burns draft, where Cleveland, Farrell, and this is you pick people based off of the measurables rather than the measurables matching the tape. And to me, this is a no-brainer right here. Is like, if you're not productive in college, that's a red flag in a sense. Is like, how many people we see are gym rats? There are athletes out there that can run fast, that can do all of this. I think that the measurables need to match the tape, and the tape needs to match the measurables. And that's all I heard right there. I didn't even hear him say we are not going to draft people that like we need them to have massive numbers. Julius Peppers had the tape and the measurables.
Yeah.
He had all of those things. Cam Newton had the tape and the massive measurables. You're picking in those early rounds. You're not betting on a player. You're acquiring an asset.
Well, also the draft, or the combine rather, that's also what muddies the waters. Because shout out to Danny Trejo, like a player like Shamar Stewart, which I know you don't know anything about him, but he's probably a top 15 pick. I think he has like 1.5 sacks last year, but the dude is a behemoth. And you know how like the PFF guys, every once in a while they'll tell you, and there is some truth to it, that it isn't necessarily the sacks that you're looking for, it's pressures.
Yeah, disruption, things like that.
Right. Well, you can make the case that there was not a more disruptive defensive lineman in all the country than Shamar Stewart. The dude had an incredible amount of pressures. He can bulldoze opposing tackles into the quarterback, but it just doesn't have those numbers. It doesn't have
you better have games played. That is a number, though. The pressures is a number. It is the tape verifying.
But that's a good context here. Like, what stats are we talking about that we're relying so heavily on when we're drafting these players? Is it pressures? Is it sacks? Is it the fit in the system? You know, do we want people to be that, 6'3", 245-pound edge? Or do we want a bigger guy that's maybe 6'5", 285 pounds to play that position? Those are speculations.
Those are speculations for the second and third round, though, CK. Not the first. Not the first, and not the top 15. You should be in everything, dude. You should have the tape. You should have the measurables. You should have the impact. I'm sorry. I ain't giving no passes to nobody being like, oh, he played on defense at 8. You played Vanderbilt, bro. You should be able to get out. And actually, Vanderbilt was, I think, pretty decent last year for the first time in forever. But no, I don't want to hear that. You're playing in college. And I know that I don't care what they say. The SEC is like no, it's not. It is the best college players. But the NFL is the elite of elite college players. You can be a great college player and you look like a regular dude in the NFL. You're picking in the first round. I don't like that idea, CK, of, oh, what you could be. You need to be it. You need to be him, and you need to be more in the future.
Right. The part of this whole thing, I think, is I don't know. I mean, this is just an illustration of exactly what we're talking about. Of this year, it could go any way, like any possible direction, it could go that way. I don't know, man. I
almost don't want to just pick in the first round for that. If we don't have a guy that we think is the everything, man, then let's get some guys that we are betting to be good in the future.
Sure. I mean, but you run into the same situation that maybe you are trading away your future and you might be getting more assets then. But then what's always inevitably going to happen is people are going to look at whoever we pick and compare them to anybody that was possibly available at 8 that we traded back out of the first.
It's so miserable.
Yeah, it's one of the worst feelings in the world. It's like it's such a an effort in futility. You could do that with everything in life. I mean, so
how many times have they done that, CK, where we picked a wide receiver and they're like, look at this wide receiver you can have in the 3rd round. Look at this. It's like, I don't know. I think I need both. I need tape. I need measurables, especially first round picks. First round picks need to have need to be at everything, man.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, man. But that's why this draft is so interesting, because you have a lot of these players that sort of fall in that in between, where some of them do have the incredible measurables and not the stats. Some of them have the stats and not so much the measurables. There's so many different ways.
There's no locks. There's no locks.
Yeah, there really isn't.
Right.
So that actually brings us to the next part of the press conference, and that is what we're doing, like with the 8th overall pick. Like, what is the direction that we're leaning in? Are we wanting to move more towards defense? Is offense an option? Some of those are answered here by Dan.
Dan, based on everything you did so far, how committed are you to sticking to defense with number 8 or trading back in?
Yeah, I think I said it before. Like, we're not going to box ourselves in. We're going to be open to all possibilities, at that number 8 pick. Like I said, whether it's trading back or whether it's staying there and picking somebody. So we're definitely not going to box ourselves in.
So they're saying they're not boxing themselves in terms of what they're going to do, either trading back or offense or defense. Is this sort of, normally we would say coach speak. Is this some GM speak? I feel like even if they did have a plan or a preference, they're not saying it here. What else are you going to say other than, we're leaving every option available on the table? It's kind of a non-answer. And I feel like a lot of the Panther fans that really want us to draft a wide receiver are kind of running with this statement as, well, you never know, anything's possible. But to me, this is a lot of, I don't want to say posturing, because maybe they do want to draft a wide receiver or a tight end. Probably not wide receiver. We'll get to that later. But it just seems as though the Panthers are more focused on defense. And while y'all answer this, Mike K actually responded to me on Twitter about this, and I'll show y'all his answer. But what y'all feel about all possibilities being open at number 8?
CK, this is not GM speak. It's true speak. It's both at the same time. Here's the thing: is the Panthers can't box themselves in when there's no walls to box up or make anything. It's like there's a freedom here. There is a freedom when it comes to. I mean, I guess maybe the freedom is not going offense in a sense, or like that might be the box. Is like you feel required or need, but like I don't even know. Like we could get a safety, we could get a corner, we could get anything, and we're gonna be like, you know what? We needed it.
Dude, that's it's I don't know, man. That's the beauty of having a team that's bad in multiple areas. It's like, we're going to be better by the end of the draft, regardless. It's not like you run into a team like the Chiefs or the Eagles where there is a chance that they lose players and make them a worse team because of it. You know what I mean? We're not really dealing with that type of mentality when it comes to this stuff.
It would be hard for me for them to announce the pick and be like, oh, big mistake.
Oh, I know.
Big mistake. I'd be like, oh, how did you take a strong safety here? How did you take a left tackle? How did you take, like, you can pick there, you can't box yourself in when all your options are open. It's almost a weird, good place. Like, we're bad, but we're not bad.
Yeah.
We're getting better, but we have so many needs. There's a freedom to it. Cody, you said Mike K, which we got to, you know what? It's time for us to reach out to Mike K and get him on the show. I know he's busy, but we're going to get him. We got to get all these guys at that training camp party. That's what we're going to do.
We will. So like I said, later in the press conference, there's like 3 questions in a row that pertain to Jaylen Walker. And Dan Morgan goes into great detail about him. And boys, like I said before, last year we sort of knew and we felt that it was going to be Xavier to be the pick. Like, there was just so much talk around it. But it feels to me like everyone in the organization has pretty much said without saying that Jaylen Walker is a Carolina Panther. So I put that out on Twitter. And then Mike K quote tweeted me and said, for what it's worth, I came out of the convo feeling like there wasn't a clear the guy.
I've been telling you, and I don't even pay attention.
Maybe, man, I also just think that if they did have one that, well, I don't know. I mean, I disagree. I do think that Jaylen Walker is their guy. If y'all heard Dave Canales blush endlessly about him, talking with Kay Adams, but even Dan has talked about him at length. It's to the point where I would be very, very surprised if we're not walking out of draft night with Jaylen Walker as a Carolina Panther. It just feels like that's happening now. If they're hiding it, they're not good at hiding it.
Let me ask you this, though, about the guy thing. Right? Like, even the quarterback discussion in this draft, no one is like, the guy. You need to trade up. You need to, it's like there's still some intrigue and different things about this. And look, I think Jaylen Walker could be the pick. I think he would be a guy, like a great fit, like a great player for the Panthers and this and that. But if you're the guy, you're not fielding trade back calls at 8. I mean, you're doing kind of, I mean, the Panthers did this with JC Horn.
Aren't you kind of beating other teams, though? Like saying, hey, if you love Shador and he falls, our phone is available for you.
Well, we didn't do that. I mean, we passed on Justin Fields and some different things, right, in the past. We picked Derek Brown at 8, picked JC Horn at 8. And very top-end players that were stand out at their positions. Do you think the Panthers with Jaylen Walker would just say this, is that, if we don't get him, we can't not get him, is like, and to me, that's what the guy is like, yeah, yes, you're talking division rivals. You're talking about trying to bring in a haul. You could say that. But if it was just trading back 5 spots and you don't get him, then you didn't love him. I mean, and I'm not saying that they don't love him. I don't say he's not being a great player. I just, I hear people already talking, Cody, about he's great at 15, not at 8, which I hate that talk too.
Who, Jaylen Walker?
Yeah, it's like,
I told you, I would love
him in this draft. If you're the Carolina Panthers and you miss out, how about this? Say you don't trade back. How about this? We'll do this thought experiment. Say he's picked at 6, right? And he's off the board. You go, oh, draft, fucked over. Like for us, like, oh, we missed. Like, that was what we needed. Like, I mean, do you like all of a sudden just throw your hands up and go, oh, we didn't get that was the player we needed. We needed.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I like him. I think it's gonna be great. I think it would be. We will all be happy, and it could be the pick at 8. It doesn't sound. I don't know. There's no consensus of like, hey, do you think he's a top 10 player if we weren't in it? Period. Like lock.
Yeah, but remember, Tony, part of this evaluation, and we're going to talk about it later because, like I said, there's like 3 questions pertaining to Jaylen Walker. They came out and said how they view him, and they view him as an edge. So and what they're also telling you is that they view him being used differently in the professional game than how he was used at Georgia. So if you feel like the offers,
he's Micah Parsons, is what.
Yeah, they are essentially betting that Jaylen Walker is their version of Micah Parsons. And by the way, when you do watch Walker's Georgia film and Parsons' Penn State film, they are very similar prospects. Same strength, same body type. They also play off-ball linebacker. They'll line up over center. They'll do all types of shit. And they can cover pretty well also.
Man, you don't want to put that player in no coverage. You're wasting a damn asset.
And Luke Kuechly would beg to differ. Luke Kuechly got some fucking.
He's gonna say drop Brian Burns in coverage and you got no press coverage.
No, I'm just saying Walker will move everywhere.
He ain't never said those words. Cody,
what?
He never said this, and we've been on this pod. How many times did people call up this podcast and say, "Why are you dropping your best pass rusher into pass coverage? You ain't got no pass rush." You'd be like, "Oh, Brian Burns can do it all." Well, if he can do it, look. Micah Parsons ain't out there really covering people. They're using him to go after the quarterback. They're using him like, yeah, you have that in your repertoire if you have to do it. If you have to do it, you're drafting them mugs to be that outside linebacker shit. All bullshit. It's a pass rusher. It's a defensive end in a 4-3 scheme. If you're in a 3-4, you're still a defensive end. I don't want to hear it. If you go and get somebody who is a quarterback hunter, and them bitches are out there covering a tight end or a wide receiver on a slant. Like, we're like waste of resources. Cody, I want to take some calls. The number's 252-228-5098. We got a lot of calls to get through, and we got to get through this crap. It's already 10 o'clock, and we got still 27 minutes. We extended the Dan Morgan podcast beyond. How is this interview longer than in reality? I don't know. Cody, let's hit these cat calls up.
Let's do it. The number is 252-228-5098.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
CK, Tony Dunn, Cody Latt, the C3 Legion. What up, guys? It's the Hope Dealer checking in real quick. Hey, just a little bit over a week left before the NFL draft, baby. I don't know about y'all, man, but I'm
excited.
A
week? I thought it was 2 weeks.
I'm excited, but
9 days.
No, it's 9 days.
Man, I wanted to throw out there, man. Donovan Ezeraku. Ezeraku, man. Have y'all seen this guy from Boston College?
Dude's dynamic.
Man, why need more people talking about him, man? I was looking at his stats and his film. Lord have him. 16.5 sacks last year, 80 tackles. Man, hey, for real, y'all. I'm a Jaylen Walker fan, for real. You know, I like Tyler Warren too, but I wouldn't sleep on this Donovan Ezeraku dude, man, from Boston College. I mean, ACC football, you know, that's not a pushover. You know, ACC ain't a pushover conference. That has 16.5 sacks. So I thought that was pretty dope. But one other thing, man, I saw that Derek Carr got hurt. Didn't know, if y'all thought this might change the trajectory as far as, New Orleans, man, in the division might go after Shador or something like that, might go after a quarterback, make our pick a little bit, more enticing at 8. But anyway, man, it's the hope dealer. Hope everybody's staying hopeful, man. It's been a rough week so far, but I'm pushing through, man. I appreciate the C3 Legion out there, man. Everybody enjoy this weather and keep pounding.
We love you, brother. Thank you for the call. 9 days now, corrected. I was like 2 weeks. Why didn't anybody be like, hey, why are you doing this stupid total recall bit? And it's not 2 weeks. Anyway, it's close. The draft is almost here, and we've discussed a little. Thank you, Hope Dealer. Hope your week is continues to endure like we're doing, or like I'm doing. I get that feeling. That call resonates, or at least that comment resonates. We talked a little bit about the Saints part of it, and we won't just go into depth. We'll take the next call, but when it comes to this, you can talk about that player before we move on. But the Saints the Saints injury news does solidify the speculation, or their other teams are going to be looking like, man, this is the team we got to get past if we want our guy. And then the other thing is, and we probably have to look at what the Saints have, and I'm assuming they're kind of bankrupt. But are they going to be able to leapfrog the Panthers in anticipation of a team trying to leapfrog them? We'll see, and I hope.
Either way, it benefits us no matter what. If teams want to start jumping up there, dude, let them push players down to us.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at it.
Great point.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, by the way, number 6 is Donovan Izaraku. And Tony, I know you haven't looked at any of these dudes. So
I follow this guy crazy. I follow him on Insta. I'm friends.
Shut up! No, you fucking don't. Donovan Izaraku, though, played in the ACC and had the most sacks of any edge rusher in all of college football. The dude,
it might have been college.
Yeah,
like a Boston College.
And you remember the last player we drafted from a Boston College, bro? Dude, look at the bend. Look at the ability to get around the corner.
That boy looks way too skinny to be in the NFL.
Man, Tony, you keep saying that dumb shit, dude. But
It's
when you're
not
talking
dumb, bro.
No, it's very fucking dumb, dude. Every outside linebacker doesn't have to be 290 pounds.
He's not going to be an outside linebacker.
Yes, he is. Dude, it's the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. So thank you.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you're wrong. Not every 3-4 outside linebacker has to be 260 pounds. Von fucking Miller was 235, dude.
He was not 235. We argued about this last week, and I said, "Oh, he ain't that," and you said he 260 or something, or 250, and I was like,
what?
"No way."
You're probably thinking of a different player that I even mentioned.
No,
the
actually,
dude
I
is
thought
nimble.
he was heavier. He looked.
By the
heavier.
way, he has super long
He was
arms too.
250, bro.
I remember we looked up Khalil Mack, and then you were surprised to learn that Khalil Mack was only 250 pounds. Yeah, there's a bunch of them, dude. And by the way, the film over everything. If I see a player on film demonstrate all the requisite abilities that I want to see, putting his hands directly into their chest, getting to the back foot.
You know what I see him playing against a bunch of fucking bums, bro. Nobody's made a block.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna have this argument for everyone, though.
Nah, for real. Look at this tape, bro. It's more a tape in how bad offensive linemen are.
Or this dude is the fucking man, and the Hope Dealer knows it, and a lot of people know it because the dude has been rocketing up draft boards to the point. I don't know that he'll be available, Hope Dealer. I really think that if we're gonna have any chance of him,
bro, they don't even touch him. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you.
Right there,
somebody put in the comments. ACC
you're acting hella retarded, bro.
Nah, go back and watch all this film, bro. This is a film that you show to teams to not draft the offensive tackles on these teams. Bro, he didn't do shit there.
So Tony, He literally beat him. It's because Donovan Azaraku is a bad motherfucker to make that asshole look dumb as fuck. What are you talking
the
about?
Blind Panther can see that those offensive tackles didn't even put their hands up, dude. Look, go back and watch. Look at this. Is that Clemson? I hope that's Clemson too.
No, that's Miami.
Look, he don't even have his hands up.
Yes, he did. He put his hands into his chest as Azaraku knocks him away, clears the side, bends the edge.
CK,
boom,
look at this.
Hits him with that close step.
What do you say?
Listen,
look, I'm not
those
offensive tackles.
If those offensive tackles
rewind 30 seconds. Let's watch 30 seconds.
That's on Donovan.
Time of this show for this stupid shit.
Man,
right back into him.
Look, all right, that might be the best one. That's the best block.
That's the best one. He did that to fucking all of them. They all put their hands on him and they can't do shit with him. Won't touch him. Whoop, right by him. That's skill right there, bro.
I don't know. I don't feel like that. All right, maybe he's a magician. Or these other fucking tackles are terrible.
Well, that was the block. Everybody who likes the guy is wrong, and you're watching highlights and you're like, oh yeah, those dudes just suck.
Yeah, I mean,
this dude is one of the better rated guys in the entire draft. Look at the chat telling you that bend is elite, bro. You don't just come across that type of bend, brother. That's come on, it is aggressive as fuck. Look, and had the reverse spin. Watch him. Look, nope, gets caught up.
Yeah,
spins and back the other direction.
Okay, all right.
He's got ball get off, bro. Fast, aggressive. This is the type of player that we need on this team, man. And we can double dip at this position.
All right. I mean, look at this. That mug didn't even get his hands up. Look, no.
Oh, you're just fully retarded. Okay. All right, let's go.
Hey, fellas,
that
it's
one's
here again. What's up, C3 Nation? I just wanted to touch base. I was kind of curious about what you guys' best and worst case scenario is for this draft. Trying to think of this. For me, I think staying pat, getting somebody like a Ted McMillan at 8, that seems like the worst thing I think could happen to us. Maybe even trading up, giving away too many assets, could run right beside that. Best case scenario, I mean, there's a chance here with, Shadur sliding, the people that need quarterbacks looking to trade up. Now this New Orleans mess, which is great for us with Carr, adding another little wrinkle to people being a little anxious at that 8 pick, 1 pick before them and 9, obviously. And then the Genty sweepstakes with people like Chicago and Dallas right behind us. I mean, for me, a probably best case scenario, I mean, we could drop back, a couple spots in the Chicago's pick, swap with them in the first, maybe even get our old Bryce Young pick back in the second. Go best available in the first, and then we can load up on those edge rushers who are still solid, even that or a safety, in round 2, with those 2 picks if we drop back a little bit. The one scenario with Pittsburgh worries me a little bit, just not having that second round pick, but, interested to see your thoughts on the, like I said, best and worst case scenarios. Either way, thanks, fellas. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding, brother. Interestingly enough, your best case scenario might be my worst case scenario, man. I think out of every player that I want the least at pick 8 is Ted McMillan.
No, he said that was his worst case scenario.
Oh, hey, we agree. I'm not a fan of.
Because we were waiting for it. It felt like he was going to say Ted McMillan was there, and then he said worst case.
No, I thought he said he was looking for us to pick. Either way, man, I'm not really a fan. It's not that I'm not a fan of Ted. I don't feel like Ted is the difference maker that fans want at the wide receiver position day 1. So we want this stud number 1 wide receiver that instantly changes the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that Ted McMillan is that, and I think that I'm not the only one who has that opinion on Ted McMillan. And then another thing, to bring us back to Dan Morgan here, he was asked about that. Wide receiver and just offense in general. And he even asked specifically about Dave Canales, and did he echo the sentiments that Dave has about our wide receiver room going into the draft?
What you've gone through last year and building the roster and addressing certain areas and doing it again in free agency this year, setting up for the draft. I know you speak in a collective we, like how it's coming together, but from the general manager's position, how are you liking how do you feel about where this group is and what you can do? Is it taking the image that you had that you envisioned?
Yeah, I feel really good about, where we're at right now. Excited about the direction that we're heading. I feel like we can really add some good pieces to the roster and, continue to add to the front and build out that depth and the competition, on both sides of the ball with both fronts. So, I think we want to dominate the line of scrimmage. And I think that's the bottom line.
Is the general manager ever fully satisfied with the work that they've done?
No, I don't think, I think no matter how good this roster can ever get, you can never be satisfied. You always got to be hungry and always looking for ways to be innovative and getting better.
Dan, at the owners' meetings, Dave said that he was really...
This is the one on Dave Canales in the wide receiver room.
Yeah.
Happy with the wide receiver room led by Xavier Legette. Curious to know your take on the Panthers wide receiver room now and how that kind of aligns with this wide receiver draft class.
Yeah, I agree with what Dave said. We're excited about the development of, Xavier and Jalen Coker and some of our young guys. So, with Thielen still in there, Reeson and David Moore, I think we do feel good about our receiver room. I think, we're looking forward to seeing them compete and just get better and better. And, that's not to say that we're not going to, invest in a receiver at some point during the draft. So we're just going to draft really good football players. And if it's a wideout, then, so be it.
So what do y'all make of that statement? It sort of doubles down on the wide receiver room. And most people took that to mean that they don't view it as some great necessity to add to the wide receiver room with the 8th overall pick. They hint at maybe using later draft picks, but how did you interpret that from Dan Morgan and the state of the wide receiver room?
Like we feel about it already?
Yeah, I don't think that it's given us anything new to work with beyond what we already knew. I think that again, I've maintained that I think that this is a wide receiver room that I'm still willing to build under.
If we pick a wide receiver at 8, or even trade back to 13 and pick a wide receiver, I will blow the fuck up on our show. I will be upset. Sorry, I will.
Yeah, I will be too, man. Yeah,
I would rather for us to pick a damn tight end, bro. And you know how I feel. Let's go back. Let's roll through more calls. We got lots of calls. We gotta keep pushing.
Hey, C3, Studs, one more time. Sorry, I got a follow-up thought here, but damn if it is not exciting for once to have a grown-up organization. I mean, you look at what Morgan's doing and Tillis. Don't underestimate what Tillis's contribution is here. Canales and Dan seem to have a nice cohesive back and forth. Remember when Frank Reich was in with all these guys and it just seemed like a bunch of individuals. It seems like this is a grown-up team now. We're getting eventually to where we need to be. You had that Williams mess with New England that, we just didn't chase that by throwing money at it like I feel like we normally would. The boys just said, hey, we ain't doing this. We're done. We're moving on. And maybe we lost out on a better player, but I feel like we got a better team because what was done about it, after the fact. And I don't feel we've even had anything with a vision in any of these recent regimes until this one. Maybe even back to Gettleman. I mean, Gettleman was a dickhead, but the guy had a vision. He knew what he wanted to build. And I feel like this team has that. I think after another year of this, people are going to look at us differently as a real organization. And, it's just exciting for that prospect to be, on the upswing with that. So anyways, appreciate y'all. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. It feels like there's an ethos on which this front office abides by, that they are not going to overextend themselves. They're not going to overpay players. They're not going to make hasty decisions, and they're not going to do anything that isn't in the long-term interests of the Carolina Panthers. And I think that's awesome.
CK, we got a football guy running a football team. Thank God.
I mean, that's kind of what we've been wanting for the longest time, right? I mean, we want people who know what they're talking about, somebody that we can feel like actually has a dog in the race, if you will. And listen, I mean, when you're talking about a defense and wanting to build a defense, I mean, the dude comes from a background of doing just that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and he did not get gifted anything because he was a player. It's kind of like, I mean, in the sense of like Luke Kuechly came into the league, or you see in like these players. I saw Max Crosby is now like GM for Michigan State or something. And I'm not saying that Max Crosby, I mean, look, great football player. You can come in on your laurels as a football player, right? Like is, in a sense, what they gave Tom Brady to be and it makes sense. But look, Dan Morgan wasn't a name that people outside of Carolina knew via football. And he did have to earn his stripes. Like he was a player that was a fucking dog, bro.
Right.
A dog on the field. But then he went into the administration part and earned his stripes. But I feel like when I see him and I hear him talking, like it's like, yes, like you've been on a football.
He's a football guy making football decisions.
Yes. Next call.
Yep.
Cat calls. Who's this? Y'all know who it is. G. Cavassier. Hey man. The draft is in 8 or 9 days. And I'm telling you a dude that I've been looking at that I like. I don't know his last name. But Cody, you talked about him. His name is Donovan so-and-so. I'm not going to mutilate his last name, from Boston College. That boy is
Donovan Izaraku. Tony says he
weird
sucks.
Feeling Jaylen Walker's not going to be there at 8. And if we
Tony says his tackles were trash.
trade back or whatever, hopefully he will be there. If he's not going to be there, that dude Donovan from Boston College, that dude from Ole Miss is nice as hell too, man. That boy nasty as hell, man. Ooh, my God.
Man.
I want Jaylen Walker. And I'm at the point now that I don't think we're going to get Mason Graham. I really don't. The dude out of Michigan, I don't see it. And the reason why is because we got the dude from Kansas City. And we got Bobby Brown the third, man. So how's this shit going to damn mix in? Because I called a couple of days ago and you guys didn't play my call. But the thing was, to me, I don't know what the Panthers are doing, man. I really don't. Because we drafted that damn basketball player as a tight end. And we got Trimble. And we got Sanders. And there's somebody else we got too. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what the hell are we really doing? I don't even know if that damn dude's going to make the team, the basketball player dude. Yeah, that dude's 6'9". And he looks legit, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, remember back in the day with the Chargers had some dude's name, Antonio Gates. That dude was the damn truth. But that's like once in a lifetime thing. So, like I said, I really don't know what the hell all damn Panthers are doing, but I trust them. I really, really, really do. And y'all saw that press conference with Dan Morgan. Pretty good, man. He didn't say too much, but I see what the hell he's heading. They asked him about trading back. I got a feeling somebody's going to try to trade for our number 8 pick. In my opinion, I wouldn't do it unless you give me a first rounder for next year. If I can't get that, I'm not even going to entertain it. Give me your thoughts on that, y'all. Keep pounding.
I heard it. The thing I would love the most, you know, one of the other callers asked about best case scenario too. Yeah, best case scenario, if we could get a first round pick for next year, bro, that's the dream right there. Your boy, White Talking Espresso, your bastard son, said he's going to bed, so we're gonna bump him up to the top of the queue.
Yo, what's White Talking Espresso? Quick
football. Cody, show him the tape of the Ole Miss
Because
edge.
he's my son that I
think we
don't.
met at like a top 30 meeting twice with him, or meeting, I don't know. But I think he might be in line for our second round pick. I want to trade back. Get
Who?
that safety, my boy, out of South Carolina. Get him, and with the 2 second rounders we get 2 edges. Maybe get Kyle Pinyard. You know, maybe he probably
My
get
man
him
wants us
third.
to have an all
And with the
South
second, you got a
Carolina draft.
linebacker,
Yeah,
the
fuck
edge,
that. That
and then
sucks.
Cal
in the third,
Pinyard
get
is the
another
truth, bro. He's
linebacker.
good.
Or another edge, sorry. So safety, edge, linebacker, edge. Those are my picks. That's what I want. Fuck everything else. Peace.
Kenyard straight, bro. Kenyard straight. He good. He real good.
Kyle Kennard.
Yeah, he's straight. Man, he gonna be a player. He looked better than that other guy in Sherman.
This is what we do. We smoke on Gamecocks, bro. Smoking on.
As you smoke on J.C. Horn's D all the time, and he was from South Carolina.
He's a Panther. He's a Panther.
Next call.
Okay. We gotta make sure I don't play the same one over again. 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Yo, what's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope you always having a good
Yeah,
day,
well,
man. It's been a while. Just wanted to call in quick. A week approaching the draft, and Dan Morgan spoke today. I caught it later in the day, but I think it's pretty obvious. Seems intrigued by trading back, and I think the thing that I talked about with this draft is like there's really like 5 to 6 really, really top end, usual can't miss guys. And then after that, there's a huge drop off. And there was a report that came out today that also said, there was a report that came out today that said the Panthers are very interested in trading back and have already gotten inquiries about trading back. So I don't know. I think that could be the move. If that's the case, I don't know if they'll still be able to snag Jaylen Walker. I don't think that's the case. I mean, if he's as good as everyone's saying he is, then he's probably going to go in the top 10. I just wanted to give my thoughts. I don't really know who they're going to pick. I don't know what they're going to do. Just hope the player can impact this day one, man. I mean, that's really just what I'm hoping for. I'm really done with the project players. I know he mentioned he wants players with production, and he's saying the right things. We'll see what happens with it, but those are just my opinions. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
Keep pounding. Day one impact player. That's what we need, man. And also, to a point that Jacob Assier made too, I've heard this said before, that if Mason Graham fell, Bobby Brown or Tershawn Wharton would just keep him on the bench anyway. The fuck they wouldn't. He's a first round pick. You put that man on the fucking field. That's what you drafted.
Or you wait for them, or you wait 3 weeks till one of them gets nicked up.
Either way, if they do it, don't find a way to put man in the fucking rotation. Like, he's worth it. He's a top defensive tackle for a reason.
He actually looks like a beast among the small sample set of players I've seen. Like, you guys have shown me some. I'm like, that dude, dog.
I'm also still of the mindset that if you want impact day one, it might be Tyler Warren, man, the Penn State tight end. So,
hey, how about this? Is to the caller before said, what is the thing you don't want? I don't want us to draft a wide receiver. I don't want us to reach. And the fact that I am willing to field the idea of a tight end shows you what I think about reaching and this and that. Like,
yep. All right, next call.
Hey, C3, it's Tyler here. Hope you guys are doing well.
Tyler, what's up?
9 more days to the NFL draft. Thank you, Jesus. Gonna take the day off. Gonna make myself some carne asada tacos, IPA, and enjoy the draft. Watched the press conference with Dan Morgan, and I think coming away from there, they obviously want to trade back unless Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, or Mason Graham is there, which obviously we highly doubt that's going to happen. I think the person that they want to draft, if they stay at 8, will be Jaylen Walker. And outside of that, I think even if Jaylen Walker's there, I still believe that they are going to want to trade back. It's just a matter of, will there be a trade partner and will the compensation make sense? I think with the Derek Carr injury being leaked, that increases the probability of them trading back or getting a trade partner. But I still think that it's going to be unlikely, in my opinion. I think we will have to pick up a pick at 8. But Dan Morgan's got to do just a little bit better at hiding a little bit of what you want to do. I mean, it was pretty obvious from that press conference that he wants to draft defense. I still think that defense is going to be the most likely pick. I would be shocked if they pick Ted McMillan. I do not think Tyler Warren will be there. Even if he's there at 8, don't see us picking him at all. Sorry, Cody, but it's not happening. And I just think Jaylen Walker is the pick at 8, or Will Johnson, if Jaylen Walker isn't there. But this draft is going to be one of the few drafts that I don't really know what they're going to do. I have an idea, but, usually we have a good idea of what we're going to do. The draft could go a lot of different directions. So, interested to hear what your thoughts are. Thanks for all the great content, guys. Hope you have a great Tuesday afternoon, and keep pounding.
Back to the press conference here. Just thinking about the press conference. Dan Morgan, did he overplay the trade back talk? Which I don't think so. I mean, I'm here for it. I am here for it, homie. But to me, it just felt like this is like, I'm ready to trade back. Y'all come calling.
Yeah. Like I said, it felt like that to me as well. I felt like they're looking to acquire more picks. I just found this though. Gridiron. Yeah, Bleacher Report Gridiron put out this theoretical trade. So I wanted to see if we would be interested in this. The Panthers receive the 2025 first round pick from the Steelers, number 21 overall, a 2025 third round pick, number 83, 2025 seventh round pick, 229, and a 2028 first round pick.
Yes. I mean, you can cancel that 7th round pick. I'd still take that fucking trade.
Here's the thing that I worry about with that, like that type of decision.
Future first, CK, future first.
Does that say 2028 or 2026? If it says 2026, I'm in. But if it says 2028, I am not.
Six.
Sorry, you said 2028. I was making sure.
Did I say 2028?
I don't care. 2 firsts in the same round, Cody. CK, imagine that draft party where we get to have 2 firsts.
Dude, I'm down for that one. Like I thought it said 2028. I thought that's what we were saying there. I was trying to.
I still want a draft party where we got 2 first round picks.
But yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. That would be so dope. But also, is that okay? So they don't have a second round pick. So we're still having a pretty large gap between 21 and 57. You do pick up another third round pick. However, the Steelers are normally a pretty good team. So what would you say to someone who's like, well, this is probably for a first round pick that's in the late teens or early 20s?
No, they're middle of the pack. They're 9 and 8. It's a 13. It's a 15. It's a 13. Fuck that. 2 first round picks. Give it to me, baby. It's not like trade. I don't even care. I don't even care if we trade with the Chiefs and we get 2 first round picks. I'm in. 2 first round. That draft party is gonna be lit.
I am into it. Let's head back to our boy Dan Morgan. And you might like this one, Tony, because you
He
know
just said,
you've
I'm
been
gonna trade back. I'm gonna trade back. I heard it.
no, you're gonna like this because he mentions the importance of offensive line, and he's asked about Taylor Moton and how that plays into looking at offensive tackle in the draft.
And that Taylor's going into a contract year. Is offensive tackle on the table for you guys?
Again, like we're not going to box ourselves in with anything. I think, you know, if an offensive tackle is there at some point, like I'd be open to drafting an offensive tackle, but that, you know, really doesn't have anything to do with Taylor Moton.
And when the Saints,
So not really much of an answer there.
Oh, damn. That must I love Taylor Moton. That's what that was.
How could you not though? Like, what other player would you do that for on this team? If not Taylor fucking Moton, like that guy has gotten better and better every single year.
He's an unsung hero.
Yeah, he's been the linchpin of our offensive line. By the way, he's never been on a good team for the Panthers. So he's been like one of the best players on a bad football team. And yeah, we're going to pay him like $31 million this year.
We got to renegotiate. You know what? The Panthers are
we're going to pay him, man.
That told me is the Panthers are restructuring and renegotiating and extending him. That's what that told me.
I mean, why? You know, to me, at this point, why would you even want to spin the wheels on someone else when you finally have an offensive line that seems like it's trending up, like it's actually in the right direction?
I mean, that's the thing. I don't want to roll the dice. I want to hold on to this line as long as I can. I think once you get a cohesive unit like this, I don't think that we want to play with fire here. You know what I mean?
Same. So now we have Dan reacting to the news of Derek Carr and how the Saints might be in the quarterback market.
Saints news came out Friday. Did that kind of cause a little uptick in traffic on your phone? I mean, were more people interested in talking once that's out there?
No, I don't think yet. I think it's still a little early for that. You know, I think maybe down the line I'll expect it a little more, but you know, right now things are quiet.
Jason Light said last
I think this is an extension of that question.
week, Dan, that he thinks it's going to be less movement this year.
Yeah, so it's sort of pertaining to the same thing.
Because sort of a level type talent level across the later first round into the second. Do you get that same vibe that it might be tough to find a trade up partner?
You know, I always look at it like it only takes one team to fall in love with a player, you know, so, you know, a team could fall in love with a player and decide they want to trade up with us and go get their guy. So, you know, I really don't look at it like that. I just look at it as, you know, a team's just may really love a guy. So
we haven't really talked about this a lot. You know, we're all, you know, Tony, we're both pretty much screaming trade back, but are we positive that there will be a taker? You know, Dan Morgan says, you know, teams will fall in love with a guy, but we've also said that this draft, there's not a ton of like elite players. And if there's not players that you're absolutely in love with, well, that's why you would want to trade back. So what teams, and this has been something that we've talked about a bunch on the Friday free-for-all, is what teams are even going to be wanting to do this. You know, we mentioned the Steelers. They're kind of far back. But, you know, there's a plethora of different teams that are sitting there in the teens that might decide that they would like to move up. Or maybe they don't at all. How hard did you think it will be for Carolina to find a trade partner if they did want to move down?
CK just require. There's only one thing that makes it happen, and that's a quarterback hungry team. Other than that,
there's no. I mean, granted, let's just say you have a Travis Hunter falling, which again, not going to happen. But let's just say that happens, or maybe you have, Mason Graham falling. You know, those are people that look. You know, oh, that's worth trading up for.
But like you're not going to get that all.
Right. And that's where, you know, you start to, you know, I don't know, you start to question how far back are you willing to move for that? Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be a quarterback. That's the Saints news is the only thing that I think has leverage for us to be able to get the type of haul that Bleacher Report's suggesting in that.
And there's just something funky about why there's no quarterback that people love in this draft. I don't understand it. Like, we were even susceptible to it. Like, oh, we want Kenny Pickett. We want Malik Willis. And you got Shedeur Sanders. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got some players out there that are head and shoulders better than them on the field, off. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's something funky with the Shedeur Sanders. I feel like, I don't know. It's like, are they like scared of the Dion effect? I don't know. Somebody gonna want if they don't.
But there's
want
no way he
Shedeur,
falls
then they
outside.
a bunch of bums, bro. Like,
There's no way he falls outside of the top 10, right? Like there's no like to me number 9 is the farthest that he could fall. And by the way, that's why this was such a big news story, man. Because if you're the Saints and you don't have Derek Carr for the season, you're not going to run with fucking Spencer Rattler. That's why there's even been talks that maybe Aaron Rodgers could be in consideration for him. And again, if you don't love that, then you have no choice. You have no choice. So we're in a position where the Saints might have to move up if they want their guy, if they're going to make sure that they're going to get him.
I just think there's something sketchy about the Shedeur falling like so much.
Yeah.
But I don't even believe it. Like falling to where? Like I don't.
Right. Like if it's outside the top 10, then they're just dumb. Right. And
I mean,
I think
Aaron Rodgers was drafted
are.
21.
If he falls, I think it's because you have ego envy. In a sense, it's like it's not the player that's the problem. You're like, we're worried about. It almost is like what the Cam hype to me, and maybe I'm defensive on this, but Cam still went number 1. But it's like, because he's already a star, because his dad is bigger than your organization. Like you're intimidated by his presence is the problem, and that's some scared ass white dude shit where you're like, oh, black guy with like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's so weird. I don't understand how like we're talking about Shedeur slipping to like the 20s in a draft where he's the best quarterback basically, or the second.
Well, I mean, he's not Cam Robinson's the best.
Okay, fine.
And by the way,
the second
Explosive Jackson, Mel Kiper has Shedeur number 1. So Cam Robinson is a better athlete. Cam Ward is a better athlete, better arm talent. But Shedeur is kind of similar to Bryce in that he's more of a point guard type of quarterback.
But he's mobile.
He's mobile enough. He's like a Joe Burrow. He's like he can move.
Nah, he's more athletic than that.
He's not. He's really not. No, you are mistaken, brother. Not at all.
Okay.
Chat. Hey, to everyone in chat, am I wrong? Is Shedeur athletic? Shedeur was not granted the athletics that his father was born with. Let's just say that.
Right, yeah, his dad was, and the poor guy don't got no toes now. I just feel like
he has enough money to be okay with it.
Where are the thirsty? We've been in thirsty drafts where Kenny Pickett went in the first round. Where's the thirst?
Yeah. Dude, he's definitely. That's what I'm saying. He's not falling like Will Levis fell.
No, but I also think that it's fair to say that in comparison to previous drafts, he wouldn't be considered a top. Like let's say you go back to the and again I know hindsight's always going to be 20/20 in these situations, but if you go back to the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, the Anthony Richardson and stuff like that, I think he's going to come in 5th in that line of people. I think Will Levis still gets drafted before he does.
Before Shedeur?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I disagree with that.
Dude,
I think Shedeur goes way before Will Levis. Will Levis was a turnover machine.
All
I'm
right,
stating
so let's
that
just go with the calls then, because I feel like if we're all thirsting for top picks, right? We're talking about reaching. That's my fear, is the Carolina Panthers reaching, right? If you're a quarterback hungry team, you should be reaching for Shador easily.
Well,
easily.
Someone's going to. And by the way, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I don't even say it's a reach. I just think they're scared of having that bravado.
I don't think so. I think a lot of the teams are looking for that, that type of a leader. I mean, when you see the CJ Strouds, when you see the Patrick Mahomes, these guys who bring energy to the club, that's super valuable in my mind. Like from a marketing standpoint, I don't think they look at it from that perspective. I think if he does fall, I think the only thing that's pushing him down, in my mind, is that fear that he's going to pull the Eli Manning because of who his dad is. You know what I mean?
I would be more comfortable picking Shador Sanders than I would be picking Caleb Williams. And you can show me all this fucking tape of him throwing these sidearm whatevers, but I've seen Shador ball and make plays. He games.
I agree. I think that
he games, bro. He got a game.
I was saying that the Browns should draft him at number 2, and they still might, but they also just signed Joe Flacco. And y'all saw what Joe Flacco did with the Browns.
Oh my God.
A couple of years ago.
Next call.
So, call, or you want to go to the next question?
We got a bunch of calls, bro. Let's keep powering.
I think we got like 6 more.
No, that's a bunch.
No, not really.
Oh man, you know who it is. Hot dog, diggity dog. Hood Nicky in the shit, you know we go. Oh, keep pounding. Oh, let's just get straight to it.
I'll let y'all take this one.
I think Dan Morgan is going to try to trade it back. They said let him cook. I think he's cooking meth right now if he trade back. No, I think we should get Jaylen Walker. You know, I heard he's a linebacker. I don't know about what's his name, T-Mac. I think I'm good on him. I told you he gives me a Walmart Family Dollar Air Hernandez one. I think we should get what's his name, Gordon Brown. That's why we're here. And that's all I'm thinking so far. But what the big saying, keep pounding. Cody, my motherfucking nigga. And the other 2 guys that I know your name, but you guys cool with me too.
Hey, shut out my dog Hood Mickey in the motherfucking house, you know what I'm saying? That man's cool. I like that dude, you know what I'm saying? Shout out Mickey.
Oh yeah, and then another thing, you guys. I'm talking motherfucking Ikem Ekwonu. I'd rather put a gold magnum motherfucking goddamn gun on the motherfucking offensive line. He do better motherfucking protection than he goddamn it. But it might be wrong. As old dude said, he might have a breakout here. But if he fucking doesn't, he needs to go down the Super Ring goddamn that turn off of motherfucking what's that shit called? South Park. Alright, I'm out. Hood Mickey. Keep out of my niggas. What?
Yeah, Hood Mickey's the homie.
C3, what's up, my boys? How y'all doing, man? This be Uncle Elroy, everybody's uncle. Well,
Elroy, what's up?
Elroy. I say, man, we let Dan cook, man. I think, if you do trade back, I think Dan has a plan. Dan, the man, has a plan, and we got to see, man, what he gonna do, man. I think we should got, man, find something on, offense, and then work heavy on that defense because, yeah, man, I think we need some safety work, and Derek Brown will need some help as well. As far as Icky, like my man said, I think Icky's gonna do good his 3rd year. Everybody just calm down, be patient. Patience is a virtue. If Icky fucks up his 3rd year, I see we let him go or trade him or whatever. But other than that, man, I see, man, be patient, man. Let Dan and man have the plan, man, because Dan's been cooking, man, so far. All right, y'all have a good night, man. Elroy out.
Appreciate you. Elroy, thank you, man. And that's a good point, CK, that Dan Morgan has made it a point to be patient in just about every move that he's made. He's not making rash decisions. He's not choosing to overpay a Milton Williams or going out and overspending just because we have to have a certain player at a certain position. No, he wants to build this thing the right way.
Right.
And just like we said earlier, we have a football guy in the building making football decisions. So, I think we're in a good spot right now in terms of who we are and what type of team that we're building and the identity that we're building.
Who's leading it,
Yeah, and look, let's not let Dave Canales get lost in this. Our new head coach has built, in a very short amount of time, I think, a mindset that we can go in there and we can compete with anyone. We really needed that last stretch of the year last year to show not only the team themselves, but all the fans that this is a team that can win football games, that can be competitive against the best teams in the NFL, like we did to both of the Super Bowl representing teams, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles. Okay?
Absolutely, dude. I couldn't agree more. I think that at the end of the last year, that was something that we said is going to carry us into the free agency, into the draft, and just as a fan base now, I think that we attracted free agents. I just don't think, like to your point, I don't think Dan was super, keen on overpaying one position over, being able to fill a tremendous amount of depth that we needed. So from a free agency perspective, I don't think it helped as much as we were expecting it to possibly help. But I do think it certainly gives us a lot more hope going into a season where, we don't have as many questions surrounding this offense. And, when you only have one side of the ball to try to fix, it makes them feel a little bit more reasonable. So hope has been missing and lacking from all Panthers fans. And now to have that back again it's sweet, man.
I agree. Agree. All right, let's take we only have 3 more, Tony. Or 2 more. Let's just finish them.
Have you refreshed?
Man, what's going on? It's me, C-Dog 1983 TV.
C-Dog.
Whenever you come in here to the C3 Podcast, can you please
My man. Be consistent like we are.
What's going on this goddamn Saints pack right now? What's going on this motherfucking Saints, Falcons?
Smoking on that Saints pack
right now.
Yeah.
Because we're going to win the division this year.
That's my dog
Real quick,
right there.
whenever you come in here, make sure you please hit the like button. If you don't subscribe, or please subscribe to this great content. The C3 Podcast is the longest running Panthers podcast on motherfucking YouTube. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, I'm going to try to make this shit short and sweet.
My man.
I hope everybody doing okay today. We are getting close to the draft. I'm very, very motherfucking excited. With my real first topic, what y'all was talking about while I got off of work, about goddamn Icky. My thing with Icky can burn the fucking road up. There's no need to give a goddamn 5th-year option on him. To me, he's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and put Brady Christensen at left tackle. When Brady Christensen played left tackle last season, the offensive line looked fucking great. So Brady Christensen at left tackle, K. Mays at center. Icky, bye-bye. You can move Icky to left guard or move him to center. I don't know. But left tackle, he's not. Like Cody says, he has 2 left fucking feet. Force, the blind side. He just ain't it, man. He get beat too much for me, 4 times we took him. And then if you look at the left tackles who went in that draft that year, like the guy that played for the Seahawks, and they just playing better, man, at a higher level, and are way better pass blockers. They have better pass blocker grades in PFF or whatever. But anyways, man, I'm excited though, man, about this draft because, man, I told y'all motherfuckers, man, we're trading back. Even if Jaylen Walker falls to number 8, I don't see us taking Jaylen Walker or the fucking tight end from fucking Penn State. Man, trade back and fucking build this goddamn defense. Build a goddamn truly ass defense. That's what the fuck we need, man. Dan Morgan played on a goddamn defensive team when we went to the fucking Super Bowl, man. Build up this fucking defense. Run the ball with this good offensive line.
You know, we got two goddamn nice running backs. Got them ground and pound, smash and dash, play action here and there. You know, so let Bryce got them the Grim Reaper do his thing. If Bryce Young come out here and the defense play good, we're gonna be good, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm very excited about.
Oh, yes, one more.
Yo, what's my talking
No,
espresso?
it doesn't. No, wait, hold on.
For real quick, I told y'all,
Yeah,
motherfuckers, let me see that like TV again. I don't know if this car gonna get played or not. You know what I'm saying? But
We got you,
I
brother.
told
You
y'all,
our best
man, we got
brother,
to gonna
bro.
trade back, man. So don't get mad when we got to trade back. Draft night, let Dan Morgan sit back and cook this fucking hibachi, goddamn soul food, Thai, goddamn whatever you motherfucker like to goddamn eat. You know what I'm saying?
Korean.
We
We
goddamn
got some
chef this
Korean
shit
food
up
up
or
in
bake this
there.
shit up. You know what I'm saying? So let this motherfucker cook, man. Shit, David Tepper is finally
We
sitting
want that
back
bibimbap,
and setting the
that
fuck up
bulgogi.
and let motherfuckers do their fucking job. What don't y'all realize about that shit? You know what I'm saying? So even with that being said, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy with that. That this motherfucker finally just sitting back on the goddamn sidelines of being a fucking owner. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we got some competent motherfuckers in here. Word up. And we got them been going up. He's been seeing progression, success. I'm excited, man. You know
Love
what I'm
this
saying?
call.
And somebody asked me that talked about how Dave Canales was the goddamn quarterback's coach and how that probably got them helped out Bryce Young and everything, you know. Whatever. I'm sorry for jumping around, but I'm excited, man. I ain't been excited in a long time about this
Yeah.
football team, man. And I'm mostly excited about goddamn we're probably gonna trade back in this motherfucking draft. But like I said, if we can't get fucking Travis Hunter, shit, man, ain't nobody got them worth that number 8 pick. If it ain't Travis Hunter, man, I don't give a fuck about nobody else, man. Not Tech, none of them motherfuckers. They not worth the fucking pick. You know. But anyways, man, whenever you come in here, make sure you hit the motherfucking like button. Make sure you subscribe to this great motherfucking content. The C3 Podcast is the longest running motherfucking Panthers podcast on YouTube. Put some respect on this shit. The longest.
Yeah.
Okay? Running podcast. God damn it. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe to this shit. They go live every goddamn Tuesday. They go live every Friday. The free for all every Friday.
Yes,
They got the game
sir.
simulation on Saturday during the season. They got the game recap after the game during the season. You know what I'm saying? The C3 Podcast. Word up, man. But everybody have a great fucking day. I hope everybody have a great rest of the
Keep
week. I'm sorry
pounding,
for
bro.
cussing, man. I'm sorry, I'm feeling myself right now. So
Yeah,
everybody
you're
have a
allowed
great
to,
rest of
bro.
the fucking week. Man, shout out to everybody at the goddamn everybody on the C3 panel. Shout out to every goddamn member of the C3 podcast and everything. And motherfucking keep pounding. C-Dog
Keep
1983
pounding.
motherfucking TV out this motherfucker, man. I told y'all we was goddamn gonna trade back, man. It's up from here, goddamn it. It's
Let's
motherfucking
go.
up. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. How you not love C-Dog, bro?
I tell you
C-Dog is
this.
hungry.
I tell you this. There ain't nobody in the world that I owe a drink more or to burn one with more than
C-Dog
that mug
1983.
right there. I'm even talking about that person that defended me in that are you dating the same girl anonymous group? Whoever anonymous 709 is, you, C-Dog, and myself, we're gonna drinks on me, homie.
I don't know who Anon is, but I know that C-Dog has been one of the most passionate members of this community and just of the Panthers in general, man. That dude has a lot of very strong opinions, but he loves the Carolina Panthers, man. Can't nobody
Bro,
take that
I
away
mean,
from
I
him.
don't know if there's been a more consistent caller to the show than C-Dog.
No,
I
man.
really don't. I
C-Dog,
mean, like, he's my boy. Like that, like, we gonna
Yeah.
burn one, homie. We gonna burn one.
And
And
he's
I'm with Josh P here. He says, I'm not saying those guys are good. And I don't know. I'm not like a guru. Like,
you're not wrong, Josh. You're not wrong at all, man.
just don't feel like there's a top 10 that is like people are in love with.
So let me run this by you. And So I told you that he had
drinks on me.
He had a part of the pressure where he's pretty much talking about Jaylen Walker, and this is sort of going back to the conversation that we had before about stats and where we view him. I'm gonna let it play for a sec, because the next 3 questions in a row are all pertaining to Walker, and then we'll have a full-fledged conversation around Walker and how much we think he's the guy or not.
Every mock draft has you taking Jaylen Walker. At the combine, I believe you weren't really wanting to commit to how you saw him fitting into your system.
Right.
Can you expand on that a little bit on how you see him fitting in if you were to take him?
I mean, Jalen's a good player. I think, for us, I guess I'll talk on it now, but he's an outside linebacker for us that I feel like can do a lot in our defense. I think he's definitely a great person, really good player, and I think he's got a bright future ahead.
Yeah, kind of building off that, he's a hybrid sort of player. Like you mentioned, he's going to be this guy for us, not necessarily meaning that he would be this guy for other teams. What's your view on defensive players, and particularly defensive front seven guys who can play multiple positions? Like, does that make him more attractive as a?
I love Julius Peppers. I play with Julius Peppers.
But I think it definitely makes them, it adds value to them. I think, in Jalen's case, he can play on the outside. You can move him inside. You can do a lot of different things with him on the defense. And, I know that we do value those type of things. And again, he's a good player.
Is there a concern with a player like that you might spread him too thin if you do try to, off the bat, find multiple roles for him?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I think, it's always good to align a guy where you really want to play him so he can, develop in a specific place. That way you're not moving him around and he's not really getting better or getting great at anything. He's just kind of good at, a bunch of different
Whoa, can we pause it there?
Yeah, that was the end of the question, yeah.
Bro, he just said, versatility is not the key. Being great is the key. He just said that. He said what I've been saying for a minute, because I've got conned by that jack of all trades, whatever. He said, look, this guy is an outside linebacker if we trade for him. If we get him. And then they asked him, is the versatility a positive? He said, I want somebody to know their role and get better.
Yeah, you want me to play it one more time?
That last part, things, and again, he's a good player.
Is there a concern with a player like that you might spread him too thin if you do try to, off the bat, find multiple roles for him?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. I think, it's always good to align a guy where you really want to play him so he can, develop in a specific place. That way you're not moving him around and he's not really getting better or getting great at anything. He's just kind of good at, a bunch of different things. So yeah, I definitely think that's valid.
Yeah, so that's a great point. We've had this conversation around players before, that when you don't major in any one position, you're not really fully competent in any of them. And I think we can all agree. Bro.
It's the NFL.
But we can all agree that we all kind of saw this already with Jeremy Chin.
Chad Thompson.
Jeremy Chin. Well, but Chad Thompson really settled into that linebacker role. Where even though he did a bunch of different shit, he came to Carolina to be a linebacker, and that's truly all he ever was. Whereas we would try Jeremy Chin in the box. I know a lot of people wanted us to move him to linebacker, which I felt we had an opportunity to do, but we never did. And Jeremy Chin sort of struggled, I feel, because of that. So I agree with Dan that if you have somebody that you would want to play them at a position where that is going to be their role. And that also brings up the conversation, right? Because we're saying that we want our edge rushers to have production. But if you're just playing him as an edge rusher, he only had 6.5 sacks. Now, granted, he wasn't a full-time edge rusher either, CK. So how do you reconcile that one with the other. You won a bunch of stats, but meanwhile, Jaylen Walker, because he wasn't a full-time edge, doesn't necessarily have those stats.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I want to trust his perspective on that. But I also think that we've seen a lot of players not be productive in college and still come into the league and find a way to be productive, right? So I'm not prepared to eliminate somebody because of a lack of production. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a reasonable way to approach it when you're talking about guys like these, when you're talking about guys from college, because they're really not growing into who they're supposed to be. And you take a guy like, I don't know, would you put Jalen Coker in that category? Being that, I mean, I know he balled out for Holy Cross, but I mean, wouldn't you put that same kind of, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know, but remember, he was an undrafted player, and you're drafting Jaylen Walker 8th overall, but you're transitioning him to a position that he didn't play full time. So, is there a fallacy there?
You're in the secondary, right? Like the only place you can do this is at the secondary, right? Is like
let me ask it to you like this, Tony.
Like I might be a nickel corner, I might be a corner, I might be a safety. You know what I'm saying? Like, but outside those positions, those are all kind of the position. It's nuanced about your skill set and your ability. You don't get to freelance between. You got to commit. And you know what? I mean, I'm sorry. I don't like the jack of all trades. I learned my lesson. I love Shaq Thompson when he was drafted. I bought into it. I listened to you talk about Isaiah Simmons. I'm done with it, bro. And the only thing that's convinced me about not being sad and crying on the podcast if we drafted that tight end is I go, that's a fucking tight end.
But I still don't know why you're putting Shaq Thompson into that category.
No, because Shaq Thompson returned kicks. He was a running. He was a baseball player.
I'm saying as
he was
a
baseball
Panther,
player. He did kick like in college. He was a running back, a kickoff.
Right, but I'm saying Shaq Thompson is not the an example of someone that played multiple different roles in the NFL.
Yeah, he played Buffalo nickel, and that
he didn't.
And that is what
he didn't. He was a weak side linebacker his entire career.
No, Dave Gettleman pitched him to us, and I bought into it. Hook, line, and
Which
sinker.
one of us is smoking rocks here, me or Tony?
No, you weren't even around. You were a little baby boy. You were still coming.
Oh, shut the fuck up! It was 2015, asshole.
Right.
It was never a safety for the Panthers.
Yes, if you went back and you listened to Dave Gettleman talk about Shaq Thompson, you could have inserted your same analysis about
but he was
Isaiah
never.
Simmons. No, he was.
No, it's not the
Isaiah
thing. He was
Simmons
never
4 years
bounced
earlier,
around.
bro.
No, we never got to see Shaq play strong safety. We never got to see him play running back.
Isaiah Simmons never played no strong safety, bro.
I'm talking Why are you talking about Isaiah Simmons? We're talking about
you gushed on him as a multi-tool player, and then you just talked to me earlier in the show about a player who can drop back into coverage as a defensive end. I don't give a fuck about him.
Does not fit that mold. My other question was, you're drafting Jaylen Walker to be an edge rusher. Does it bother anyone that you're drafting a player who never really has been a full-time edge rusher to be your full-time edge rusher?
Yeah. That bothers me.
How much?
Significantly. Like drafting a basketball player to be a fucking tight end. I don't know. I mean, like, there's nothing great about it. We need to know what you're going to do. That's what Dan Morgan said. We need to know. We ain't trying to be like, oh, we can fill it out. We're going to figure out how it's going to work. He wants a guy that's a guy at his position. Sorry. And you're wrong about that damn Shaq Thompson shit.
No, I'm not.
Because I fell for it, bro. I bought the fucking jersey. Dave Gettleman was
Ryan,
like, "Oh, he could
Twilight
do
Zone.
everything, but hit a
What are you
curveball."
talking- But that is not what he did with the Panthers.
Yeah, he did. His first 2 seasons, they
Okay,
didn't have
help
a
me
role
out.
for him, dude, and they put him
Okay,
in nickel.
you gotta help me out here, bro. And anyone help me? When did Shaq Thompson ever play multiple roles with the Panthers?
Play Buffalo nickel, bro. They
One
would put him
time.
out in coverage. All right.
That was never a primary.
You're right. And then when it wasn't a
He was the
primary, the
weak
Mug
side
was riding the fence.
linebacker.
All right. We got
He
any
was
more
the weak
calls?
side
Because you're wrong
linebacker.
on this. Well, I'm
There's
not
no
riding
more
this.
calls. There's no more calls.
All right.
There's just more timestamps.
Let's finish up.
Let me see where we're at. Well, which one do you want next? Let's go to 11:45. Players that they like at 8. Hold on.
It's like waiting on Cody to explain how he was wrong.
Get into a situation where the board falls a certain way. And obviously, I mean, consensus is what it is. Outside of that, and you can't move out of the pick. Do you feel comfortable taking, a guy who might be viewed as maybe a bit of a reach in other years?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at number 8, if we get stuck there and we're not able to trade back, if we're not in love with the player at number 8 and we can't trade back, then we're going to be ready for all different types of scenarios. So there's some really good players that we like. It's just not one position. But we feel like it's a good draft and there's a lot of talent. So we're going to be ready for all scenarios.
You use an expression like if we get stuck there, that would seem to suggest your preference would be to move back.
No, I was just saying if we do get stuck, we're going to be ready, for all different scenarios,
But whoever asked that is right, though. The word stuck does sort of imply that we don't really
picked.
Yeah, we don't want to be picking.
Yeah, that was when I was getting home from work. You sent me I was trying to study up for the show, and I heard that and I was like, stuck. What? Stuck with the 8th pick. That's what he meant. If we're stuck with the 8th pick, we don't even want it.
Yeah, it's okay.
I mean, that's what makes me feel like he means he's going to trade back personally. Like that feels pretty clear to me based on that verbiage alone that this isn't like his preferred location to stay at, or like it just doesn't feel like that's a natural response if you're planning on sticking around at 8.
We're stuck.
Yeah.
We're stuck with a top 10 pick. Oh, we're stuck with a top 10 pick. The only concern I have is that we're telegraphing the want to trade back too much to where we don't get more. Like we're going to get a first and a multi-tool player. Oh.
So this is Dan on the gap between 8 and 57.
That we're excited about.
Last year, you guys were pretty aggressive in trading all around the board. You don't pick from, in between 9 and 56. So, that's a pretty long gap. How much has the discussion revolved around potentially making sure that gap is kind of closed?
Yeah, we've went through all different scenarios at this point, and that's, of course, going to be one of them as well. So we're definitely playing out all different scenarios in our head, and I think when the time comes and we see who's on the board, we're going to be ready to go.
Damn, was that Mike K? I'm pretty sure it was.
I think so.
And was that really a sneaky way of asking, are you going to trade back? Because 9 and 57 is not that giant of a gap. You have a top 10 pick. You have a late second round pick. Is it really oh, you're not picking for 3 rounds? Was that Mike K trying to be sneaky and saying, are you trying to close, trade up, trade back? I think it was. 9 and 57. That's a second round pick, right? 32 teams.
That's the end of the second round. 57.
I mean, it's the end.
Yeah. But there's a
like,
lot
it's
of
not like you
players.
waste 2 fucking rounds or something.
But if you have a needed safety, you have a needed edge, you have certain needs. There's a lot of good players that are gonna go between 8 and 57. So
CK,
I can
is that
understand
gap
why that would want.
too wide? Is it too loose?
Dude, I don't even know. Like, I don't feel like it's too loose. But...
Sorry, I'm a dick.
No.
I'm a dick.
Man,
It's wide. It's wide and loose. I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like that's multi rounds. Like you're like, oh, I'm so all right. And let's give them the benefit. So you're saying, Cody, it's because you're picking so front end. Are you worried about? I can't even say it without it sounding dirty. The back end, but.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like I've never thought like, oh man, we're picking. I guess 1 and 50. Like, what's the fucking difference between 1 and?
Again, if you're not a draft buff, then you're not understanding the depth of talent that is available there. Because again, Tony, that's what we're talking about.
But then you fucking trade back.
But all right, but you have to have a taker. But that's why it's important to either trade back from 8 to get more picks, or you have to trade up from 57 and use some of your later round picks as ammunition to move up. Personally, I would rather have as many darts to throw at the board as possible. So I would like to trade back. But again, we're going to run into a problem of, is there going to be a taker for us to trade back with?
Oh, I can't wait till we trade up for Devin Funchess like we did last time at 57 or whatever. It was right around that pick. All right. Do we have any more calls? Is that where we at?
Nope. That's it.
That's it. All right.
That's it.
What we've learned is that the Panthers will sleep with anybody who's got talent. There is a wide gap from front to back. Oh, all right. That's it. That's terrible, man. I don't even know. We're trading back. We should trade back. If there's not a taker, then why the hell are you trading forward in the 50? I don't even know. Man, look, I feel comfortable with Dan Morgan. Oh, I did want to bring this last point up, and we're going to get out of here because it's 11:11. It's my special time, my birth time. Does it feel like for the first time that our GM is really in command? And I know that, look, this is like maybe David Tepper's trying to save his image and this and that. But like when Dan Morgan speaks, I don't feel like he's speaking with a fear of his boss watching. We might finally be in an era where a man of men commands the position that he earned.
Yeah, man, I hope so. I mean, I've been confident before about other Panthers GMs. So I don't want to,
You've been confident? Who have you been confident?
I am. But do you remember?
And then he fucked all that up.
Do you remember I wanted Dan Morgan before we hired Scott Fitter?
Yeah.
I've been on the Dan Morgan train forever, man.
I
So,
know.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Finally, we might have a dude that can dog up to Dave Tepper. It feels like this. It doesn't feel like Dan Morgan's trying to impress anybody. Like he's trying to do something out of filter. It's not like, oh, I got to run it up the chain to my boss. Maybe it's finally normalizing in Carolina where Dave Tepper pays the motherfuckers, celebrates and claps with the people when they win, and lets Dan Morgan cook.
Heard that.
All right. That's it. All right. Well, let's end it then because I feel like I just Debbie Downered you bitches. I think I ruined you with like telling you Shaq Thompson was
Because it's the dumbest fucking thing you've said
It's
all
not.
night.
It's real true.
It is.
Trust me.
It is.
Y'all
And
listen
by
to
the way, I
C3
want
Panthers
somebody to
podcast
prove it.
where Cody and I fucking disagree all the time and we argue like brothers. CK keeps us straight.
He's
He
the quiet
actually
one, just like letting us
nah,
fight off.
he will punch all of us in the back of the head when we need it. But hey, we're hanging out here. It's Tuesday night. Let's wrap this mug up with the longest running Panthers podcast, the longest running segment on that podcast. Let's ice some fools up.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our time to ice up some fools. Some fools. It's our time to tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. And it's actually become like weirdly and oddly the Steve Smith Award. Strange. I thought he would beat us all up. And he's like, I'm sorry. That's what he told that mom. He said, I'm sorry. We love you, Steve Smith.
When you're in that position, you kind of just have to.
I would have hung up. I would have hung up and been quiet. But we love you, Steve Smith. Time to ice some fools up. Everybody's fair game. Cody, show us some people dying on the
No, it's not people dying. It's a ball dying. Shout out to quarterback Tom Savage. Look how derpy this throw is. One, how off the mark it is, and two, the footwork of the throw.
Oh.
It just completely misses. Just whiffs. Like, what are you doing, bro? Yeah, he was trying to be all fancy and
he's not getting drafted. That's what he's doing.
I looked extra stupid. But yeah, I saw.
CK, what do you got?
Mine's going to be just a statement instead of a video, as it always is. For 4 years prior to this year, we, as meaning me, being somewhat of a conservative, if you will, were making fun of the Democrats and Joe Biden and all of that. And it was people getting mad and we're like, you can't take humor. You can't take, this is, it's all humor, it's jokes, it's whatever. And I just feel like people, the hypocrisy now that the shoe is on the other foot, as it always is that we conservatives are getting a bit butthurt about when people are making fun of Trump. And whether you agree with what the joke is or not, you have to be able to respect the fact that it's a joke. You know what I mean? Like, it's a joke. People can joke. And honestly, it's been a consistent thing. Comedians are going to constantly make fun of whoever is currently in office. It's going to happen. It's always been a case of, at least here in the United States, that's always going to take place. And so I'm just going to ice up people who don't realize that both things exist and that you are hypocritical if you want to be offended by people making jokes about the current president.
His lips literally look like a butthole, bro.
Did you hear Joe Biden did his speech today? He won some award and he just starts talking even though the music hadn't ended. Like the intro music was playing and he just starts talking. It's just fun. Anyway, it was funny. Shout out to Joe. I miss Sleepy Joe.
Learn how to joke on yourself, folks. Like, if you can't laugh, like, you got to be able to laugh. There's a level of humility that comes with that, CK. You know what I'm saying? Like, is being able to not get mad when someone teases you a little. Right? Like, you have to be humble. Like, it's wild when people can't even take a little tease and then they get so pissed the fuck off. Like, and you actually do something wrong too. Like, you've done something like goofy or something and somebody makes a joke about you and you fucking get pissed the fuck off. So stop being so sensitive, Mugs. But like, it's not a big deal. My ice up pick goes to ill prepared. I would say my ice up pick goes to the anxiety that comes and the uncertainty that comes with like it's almost like a win and like failure and win, success and failure. Like right now, I'm selling a house and buying a house at the same time. Like if both don't work though, none of it works.
Yeah.
It's like, and you're not like, it's not like you're making bad gambles or anything like this. It's like you are putting money and chips in and all of this. And when I get an email, I'm like, oh, I got to do this. And it's like, it's a weight. It's weird. It's crazy. And it's dumb. And it's awesome all at the same time. Like it's exciting. Mm-hmm. You're going to turn the page to like a new chapter of your life and do all this. But you're like, oh, I got to balance this one thing and it's going to work. And then I got to do this. And then if I don't balance this one fails. It's wild and bananas. And the idea of doing all of that, and you have to do it in not a short timeline, but like think about selling and buying a house within 30 days, closing within a week of each other. The document I'm ready for, you know what? I'm ready to get next. And the sad part about this is I thought our draft party, this is what I'm going to ice up. I'm icing up myself because I thought this draft party was going to be my party. And I prematurely celebrated it. But training camp going to be the party because I'll be fucking settled. I can't even. So it's just, gosh, the light at the end of the tunnel is so close and so far away at the same time. And then taxes. And I don't even make money. That's it. I ice up that. I ice up myself. I ice up the juggling. I ice up taxes. Cody Lack took us out of here.
C3 Nation. Till next time, keep pound.